Heat basketball back tonight, 7:30 tip-off from the Kaseya Center. You, of course, can hear that right here on 560 WQAM. Jason Jackson and our next guest, Amy Audibert, on the call. You could listen to here on WQAM. You can watch on Bally Sports Sun. They have your coverage starting at 7 as the Heat take on the Magic tonight. Amy, kind enough to join us on the Toilet of Hollywood guest line. Shop hundreds of toilets indoors in one of America's largest showrooms at Toilet of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan. Hello, Amy. How are you?
Hello.
Good morning. Hi, everybody. I'm great. It's game day. I love game day, so good.
Yeah, I love game day too.
How early do you go over to the arena?
Well, I like to roll over around. I like to get there around 4:45, ideally. So usually I get there right at 5. But I've to be honest, every day I say, yeah. Every day I'm like, I'm going to be early. But I mean, women understand our time is to get ready is a little bit more,
I understand. I get it.
Yeah. Like it's crazy. It's like, so I'll just tell you guys real quick. I go work out. I'm in this great routine of working out on game days. I get home, I sit here, I do my prep. We have a production meeting. I go shower and I literally have to dry my hair, put my makeup on, get dressed, and then start driving in. So I love game days, but they are pretty intense.
Pretty huge one tonight, Amy. This Orlando Magic team just hops the Heat. They are giant. I mean, Paolo Banchero's giant. Franz Wagner, they got him back the last time the Heat lost to him. What do you think are the biggest challenges for Miami in this one tonight? Because that team, they've had a really nice season for Orlando Magic standards for sure, but now they're kind of back healthy. I think the Heat got their hands full tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest challenge is going to be, regardless against any team, but especially the Magic, is to score. They are big, and they are big at all positions, and they're physical. Just ask Phoenix when they rolled in here last week. They had played Orlando the night, I think it was the night before. I don't think there was a night off. There may have been, but like they were like almost shook. Frank Voigt talked about just how upset they were, not upset, but Vogel, excuse me, just how the size on the defensive end, because they're really aggressive too. So I think scoring is always going to be a challenge for any team against Orlando, but with Miami, I mean, the defense looks great. It's rolling, it's back, but still figuring out consistency in the offense. But also, Tobin, to your point, in terms of how big this game is, like, so this is bigger than big because right now Miami has a 2-1 regular season record against Orlando, but they're in division. And the way the NBA works, when you look at tiebreakers against teams with the same records, the next thing you look at is division. Well, if they're tied with Orlando in the division, then it turns into like a whole other points winning percentage in your division. And it's crazy. So if you're Miami, you're going in this game and say, let's kind of end that right now and just win this regular season record. It's a huge game.
Is it like, I always wonder, because they're trying to turn things around and try to get things going. And I understand how big this game is, but are they trying to take care of the bigger issues that they've been having? And it just so happens they're playing Orlando at this moment? Or can they just say, okay, this is a big game, let's get it going? Because they've had these struggles now for 2-3 weeks. And I don't know how that's going to just turn around.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say there's a little bit of that, but these guys understand. Like, that's the difference. I'd say the big difference between Orlando and Miami in terms of their rosters is their experience, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, Miami does have. Now, you credit Orlando because they also dipped quite a bit, but they are pulling themselves out. They were a team, I was curious if they were going to do that just because they're so talented, but they're young. Right. And so they've shown that they're going to continue to figure it out as the season goes on. If you're Miami, I think as silly as it sounds, and I'm like such a competitor that it really bothers me because I'm also not a moral victory person. But when you looked at that Clippers game, that came down to making some shots, some good quality shots. That was the difference in that game. I mean, they came out, they defended their tails off. They really, really, really got on top of the Clippers early. And I think, when you look at Terry Rozier, the biggest thing from the Clippers game, and something we're going to talk about tonight, is just you saw a lot more fluidity in terms of his action with Bam, which is so important when you want to talk about that two-man game and getting to your shots and getting to your spots. And if I thought it was actually a really good game, while it wasn't his highest scoring game with Miami, I thought he generated some awesome opportunities. So continuing to build on that, and listen, like, this is happening in real time. 2 weeks ago, this guy was just like landing in Miami. So I think it's fair to say, like, his shooting, he's the first one who said it after the game, that I can't hit a shot right now. But it's not like, it's to the point where he's going to, at some point, like in his 9th season, he's established that he can shoot the ball. So I think that that's something that's going to come as well. So to your point, I think if you're Miami, you got to keep your head down on the ground a little bit and just believe in your game plans and your executions, because against the Clippers, that who is, in my opinion, the best team in this league right now, if you can just execute in terms of making a couple more shots, you win that game. So they've got to believe that they can compete against anybody in this league on any given night.
Yeah, Leroy got mad at me because I blame the refs with this James Harden. He said they're still falling for his tricks, Amy. Like, I saw this happen again last night.
Amy, if you've played a sport and like, how reluctant you are to say something like that? Like,
dude,
I'm never going to take it out of the player's hands. I'm never going to do it.
He tricks
I don't
them
care.
With his flopping into the bench. They fall for it every time. Now, last night it was a clash of superpowers because he did it to Trae Young, but it was like they keep falling for it with the kick out thing.
So I will say this. I always kind of disclaimer, I think the officials have the hardest job in the gym. They really do. And actually, when you think about it, they mess up the least amount of times between like players and coaches. I'll throw broadcasts in there. They actually probably do make the few amount of mistakes. They have the hardest job in the gym. But I also, like Tobin, I get like, sometimes I'm like, what? But the one that killed me in the Clippers game was not James Harden. It was when Jay Rich took a charge in the open court on Paul George when they made that late push and the officials did not call it. And that could have instantly changed that game. And actually the camera was on the conversation. You could see the official kind of going like, okay. And I like said to Jax, I was like, okay, but that could have been the game. Like, you just don't know at the end of the day. Like, that's not what blows.
He went with
this is
Amy. He went with the Caleb Martin one. Where he should have got the and one,
I know.
Then they went down and made a 3.
I know that was such a tough
elbow on Caleb.
What an incredible finish! I was just watching that one last night again, and Caleb, I just love when he does stuff like that, which he does. But to me, it was the Jay Rich taking the charge, the full clean out in the open court. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that would have went the other way, and if you score on that, like totally different ball game. But at the end of the day, again, like you look at just some of the shots at Miami when their offense went cold. And I'm sure you guys might ask about this. I'm sitting there and going, man, where's Tyler? Like, because Tyler Herro can generate. I'm such a Tyler. I love Tyler's game, and I think he's so important to this team. And I this is a perfect example of it. It's like when our offense goes cold, everyone's like, where's Tyler? Because he can generate great shots. You know, and so I'm hoping, I know I believe he's still listening. List is probable when I checked last time. Mm-hmm. So hopefully he'll be back tonight, because there's going to come a point in time where, if your offense goes cold, at least you can get a good quality shot from him.
He did say, like, he's trying to put up more threes. He's trying, in his words, sacrifice and, maybe play a game that's not the most comfortable for him. But we know what a talented shooter he is. Are you seeing that? And then have you also seen, the one thing I've loved over these last 3 games, well, 2 with Tyler, but it just seems like him and Bam are getting back to being on the same page with each other. I don't know why that felt like it got away from them a little bit this year, but those two have had such a great chemistry, been together for so long. So just what have you thought about, since they've reshuffled, they've met, how Tyler's been just playing on the court?
Yeah. So first of all, we know Tyler's a 3-level scorer, and I think he's at his best when he's able to create and kind of like put that on display. But Tyler's being asked to do something really difficult, which is kind of changing his execution based on who he's playing with, like in games. And so some lineups that might mean you've got to be more of a spacer and just kind of roam the perimeter, keep your feet moving, and get your target hands up, get ready to shoot. And other lineups that's like, hey, get into your 2-man game, get to your paint touches. His mid-range floater, we all know, is like one of the best, I think, just at his size, his ability to get over defenders. So Tyler's being asked to literally like almost change that. Maybe it might be quarter to quarter. And I think that there's something to be said about giving him some credit for doing that. But the Sacramento game, he was great. And actually, he only took 9 shots that whole game. I'd like to see him take a couple more, but I think he's still trying to feel out this new kind of hybrid role for him. But yes, to your point, the 2-man game with Bam, it's Tyler and Bam, it's Duncan and Bam, and now I think we're adding Terry and Bam in there. Who's the common denominator, my friends? Let's go. Like, he is an all-star. Okay, come on now.
Amy, how difficult is that? Because I think a lot of times we see Tyler do a lot of different things with different groupings, but how difficult is that to know when it's time, or does he know, right? Or do they tell him, okay, look, you have to be the guy who's creating shots, or you are, you're the guy that is going to be the perimeter guy, and we're going to, kick it out to you and let you shoot. How evident is that? How, is it easy to transition to that? Does he know, or does he have to kind of figure it out on the fly?
Well, from my own experience, I wasn't given. My job was to set screens, hit everybody, smash the flash. So I was never really asked to change. So I was just like, just go hit everybody and no one comes into your paint. And I loved it. That's what I got to do every day. And I pay for it every morning when I wake up and try to walk. But for Tyler, I think it comes down to, again, like this team, we all know it, and they're not hiding away. They went through that 7 games where they're kind of almost like rejigging and re-identifying and having tough conversations. But I think the foundation of everything is communication. And it's no coincidence that so when Tyler gets in the game, to your point about kind of switching these, it's just having those conversations, like having structure, having structure, and maybe a little bit more structure than they're used to again, because now you've added a guy like Terry who can get his own shots up too, who gets to the paint. You want Jimmy touching the paint. Bam is not roaming on the 3-point line. Like that key is only so big, right? So I think there's something to be said about just kind of continuing to communicate and really, really executing your structure. And that's, I think we all believe in Spo and his staff. And if you don't, I don't have anything to say to you about that. But you know what I mean? So Spo's like saying, this is what we're doing. You got to do it. Like you have to do it and you have to believe in it. I don't think there's any reason not to at this point. I don't think there ever will be. So I think it's just, again, making sure that everyone's on the same page and the communication is clear and concise.
Speaking of Tyler, he's not just a great basketball player. He's Scotty Drippin. He's a man of fashion. What do we think of the bunny hat?
I love this, and I've told Tyler this. I don't think there's one thing that he can wear that I'm like, no. I think he could absolutely wear anything and rock it. And actually, when that came on, I was sitting in studio with Will Manso, and we were like, oh my gosh. Was it Loverboy? I've never heard of Loverboy, but now everyone knows Loverboy. Yeah, well, Loverboy's got some hats, okay? But Tyler's the best kid out of here. He can wear anything and totally just I think he can rock it out. Actually, I told Jax this. I always laugh because I always picture Jax and what Tyler's wearing. It's some little thing I do. And I always am like, could Jax sport that? And usually it's a no.
That would be a great Inside the Heat if they just go, if it would be 2 comparisons, Tyler Herro and Jason Jackson in each other's closets and seeing what the wardrobe looks like, because they would both be very impressive.
See, like this is what
that's great producing.
This is my free time. This is what I think of in my free time. So it's great.
Amy, do you think with Jaime Jaquez, we have not seen him be off to that great an offensive start since he's come back? I was wondering this. Do you think this is a rookie wall thing, or do you think he's got a little bit of what's going on? Remember when Jimmy came back, Jimmy kind of was on the outs, didn't feel like he was himself. Now it's a rookie trying to kind of fit in with all these new pieces. What do you think is going on with Jaime right now?
So we're on the same page, Tobin, because I actually ran some numbers and I'm going to read them to you. So last year with UCLA, he plays and starts in 37 games for his team through the entire season. He plays a total of 1,228 minutes. Right now with the Heat, he's playing 44 games and 1,304 minutes. He's already played way more minutes than he did in a condensed season. What's crazy is his efficiency is actually better in the NBA than it was in college. I'm talking about field goals, threes, and free throws. Right. So I'm not going to say rookie wall in that like he's done, but I think when you come back for an injury, like you are checking into a game where it is bigger, faster, stronger. And also Jaime comes back in the middle of kind of this like, got to find our identity again, right? And he's playing in a new rotation. He's playing with a new point guard that pushes at a different pace. So I think it's a combination of a little bit of everything. But I think that Jaime is going to be just fine. And especially like, I think everyone's just like, you get to this point in the season where you're going, okay, got to get to the All-Star break so you can really just take care of your mind and your body a little bit. But I don't think he's hit the wall and that's it. I think he's got a lot more in him for the rest of the season.
You guys can watch Amy Audibert tonight on Bally Sports Sun. pre and post game coverage. And of course, listen to her with Jason Jackson on the radio call tonight, right here on 560 WQAM. Always like when you join us, Amy. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
and
Amy.
enjoy the rest of your day and see you down at the arena.
Yeah, great to talk. See you later.
There you go. Check out Amy does fantastic work with the Miami.
So I probably, at that moment, I didn't spell anything. Okay. At that moment when she was saying, I think he looks great, it probably wouldn't have been the best time to say he looks like the Joker from my deck of cards.
So, dude, you're Leroy. You can say whatever you want.
But he does. He does.
No, for sure. It's the hat.
It's the hat.
But
right.
she loves the hat. So it was great. I'm glad he saved it, Leroy. I'm glad.
He does, but like there has to be a point. I remember when D Wade got to this point. There was a point where D Wade got to games.
The outfit.
Yeah.
The outfit was when he wore the short, the
suit shorts.
Suit shorts.
I didn't think they were that bad.
Nah, when that first came out, like now we see Tyler Herro. That's like nothing. Like if Tyler Herro showed up in a suit shorts, we'd be like, that's pretty tame for Tyler.
Right.
But there comes a point where you're either a fashion guy or you're not a fashion guy. And she's right. Tyler Herro can just wear whatever he wants because you just expect Tyler Herro to wear things that nobody has the guts to wear. And sometimes he'll show up looking like the Joker. Sometimes he's wearing like the brightest shirt you've ever seen in your life. It's amazing.
He's still not Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, for
with
sure.
the extra long sweater.
Oh, we're Kyle
We'll
Kuzma.
never get over that.
Kyle
sweater.
Kuzma looks like airline safety sometimes when he shows up. Like you pull a ripcord. And
does he still do that? Have we all just become numb to it? Or like I haven't seen as much.
If you're Kyle Kuzma, what else do you have besides your fashion right now? Like if Kyle Kuzma's given up on fashion, he's just given up on life because he's certainly, when he looks like he's playing basketball right now, it looks like a little bit of him has died inside being on the Wizards.
Wasting away in Washington.
Dude, it feels like they're wasting away.
Do you know that LeBron probably could have had more success if he had kept all the guys that he went there with?
Yeah, you're talking about Ingram, Randall, D'Angelo.
Yeah,
maybe. Saw him yesterday. He's still trying to trade half his team. How mad is he that Gabe Vincent's not coming back for another month? You know he wanted to ship him off.
Not surprised.
Mm-hmm.
What did Gabe Vincent do?
Exactly.
He left.
What did he do?
I'm saying, what did he hurt?
Oh, his knee.
Oh,
okay.
His knee. His knee's been messed up all
He hurt
year.
J-Fig.
J-Fig said he hurt me.